So before we begin this video, just a wee announcement: if everyone can keep their diaries free for Saturday the 9th of June of this year and track your way down to Sutton United down in England, as you'll be watching the Chels Legends versus Rangers Legends. You'll be joining the likes of Alex Ray, Andy Gorham, Marco Negri, Lee McCulloch and Nacho Nova will be in attendance as well in the dugout, but unfortunately he can't be playing. You'll have a great time and it's a massive booze up, so come and enjoy yourselves. But obviously the game today ended 1-1. I'm not entirely disheartened by this one like I was in the 5-0 thrashing, so there's a little bit of a refuge in that. But I still feel a bit pissed off, particularly towards the referee, and it's not something I normally say. I don't normally say, look, I'm on a witch hunt of the referee, but today I feel like it was a very, very poorly refereed game. Starting off with the penalty that was given, I was entirely disappointed. I saw the look on Morelos' face as well. He was gutted. He was genuinely gutted. It all started off with some great Rangers play, cracking 1-2 passes, no-look passes from Dorrans. We came out with a point to prove. And then it all started to go a bit tits up when Morelos made a good challenge in the box and the referee gave the penalty. Now, the reason why the referee gave the penalty, because from his angle, I suppose it looked like the Aberdeen player went down without much influence from the player, really, but from his angle, it just looked like he went down after an interception from Morelos. Probably thought Morelos isn't a defender and was in the box, so could have been clumsy, as he is anyway, and gave the penalty. But interestingly, he didn't show Morelos a card, so he couldn't have been that convinced that Morelos did any wrong. What actually happened was Morelos goes in, gets the ball, and then kind of taps the Aberdeen player, and player goes down, like most players will do. They'll look for a penalty. He got the penalty. I was genuinely gutted by that, and you can see on the look on Morelos' face, he was not happy. He didn't strop this time around, he just seemed upset. And of course, McLean then converted the Aberdeen penalty. I think they said it was his 5th in 5 games or 4 in 4 games, which is quite ridiculous, really. Yeah, so our hits then went down. The good football then stopped, and Aberdeen were on top of us for a bit. But I feel without that goal from Aberdeen, we'd have been on top of them a bit longer. Now, a lot of people were saying that they thought we were going to beat Aberdeen by a few goals or beat Aberdeen at all. I thought Aberdeen were going to score first, and then we beat them 2-1. That didn't happen either. Our goal was a bit of a strange one. Morelos worked his arse off for it. Let's get that clear first and foremost. He was very frustrated throughout most of the game, and of course we were shouting profanities at the television, but Morelos' work earned this goal. Of course, he was bombing around the pitch. He turns in, cuts in on the right, tries a finesse shot so it curves around a couple of defenders, and it looked like it was going to go in until it took a deflection. Ball goes up in the air, and Ross McCrory out of nowhere just kind of runs in, jumps, and he wanted the header the most, as the commentator said. Absolutely spot on. Ross McCrory went in there with a job to do, and he just popped it into the bottom corner. Not the most power on it, but it was just a fantastic little jump from him, as he had 2 other players to contend with, one of which was a Rangers player, one of which was an Aberdeen defender. The keeper didn't even move. And I think that was in about the 68th minute. I can't even remember. But us getting a goal there was crucial, because now, if Hibs don't get a point against Hearts, I might be wrong, this is my calculations, and I'm not great at maths. If Hibs don't get a point against Hearts, i.e. Hearts beat Hibs, then I believe that's us secure 3rd place, because if they beat us, if Hibs beat us, shall I say, in the final game of the season, then they'd be level with us on points, but we beat them on goal difference, so that should be us secured Europe if they lose against Hearts tomorrow. So it's definitely a game to watch tomorrow. I don't normally watch rival teams, but I will be tomorrow. That's if I can. But yeah, I was disappointed with Morelos throughout the match. I feel like he's a right pest. He's a bit of a Diego Costa / Joey Garner when it comes to winding up players, and players want to wind him up too, which is something that I've learned actually through recent games. But he works his arse off. He does. He really does. I'm not saying he doesn't, but when it comes to him in front of goal, he loses all composure. And I heard the commentator say in the past 9 games he scored 1 goal. A complete and utter difference from the start of the season when he was banging in 8 and 8 or 9 and 8 or something like that. And they were saying at the start of the season as well, it's never happened when someone scored this many goals at the start of the season that they haven't finished as top scorer. It's not going to happen this time around by the looks of things, unless he bangs in a hat-trick or 4 goals against Kilmarnock, against Hibs, as Chris Boyd of Kilmarnock is currently top scorer. Graham Dorrans went off injured, which is a big disappointment for me, because I've been backing Graham Dorrans, saying that there's a good player there, in fact a great player there. He hasn't always shown it, but he started to show it at the start of today's game, but a couple of times he looked frustrated. I noticed today that our players, particularly the likes of Dorrans, Goss, Jason Holt, they were going out there to hack out Aberdeen players, and likewise, then vice versa to us as well. In the first half, I think there were 5 red cards and 4 of those were Rangers players. It was almost as if Jimmy Nicholl or someone said to the players, go out there, show a bit of passion, hack a couple of Aberdeen fans out. Hack a couple of Aberdeen players out. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And that's what they did. A couple of times it was unnecessary, and I found myself thinking, what on earth are you doing? What are you trying to prove here? Because they're showing passion, and then there's being a bit stupid. Like Sean Goss, I believe someone was hacked out. Sean Goss kind of turns to the ref like, is that not a foul? Turns back, sees the ball just in front of him to the left, an Aberdeen player running up past him. Instead of just trying to chase after the ball, he goes and hacks out the Aberdeen player. He looked kind of happy with himself as well. It almost seems Rangers versus Celtic, the Glasgow derby, the Old Firm, is the game where the players want to beat each other, and Aberdeen versus Rangers is the game where the players want to hurt each other. Apparently all started from that certain challenge on a certain player back in the 80s, but hey ho, we're not going to talk about that as they still glorify that challenge from Neil Simpson. On the whole, disappointing result, but some signs of good football without the management of Steven Gerrard, so there's a heads up. If he can transform a team, hopefully he can make us even better. Jimmy Nicholl looked a little bit gutted on the sideline. He was very, very active with the way that he was speaking to players. Anwick again made a couple of good saves, as did the goalkeeper for Aberdeen. I was a bit disappointed with Sean Goss though, but first and foremost, he showed this agility that's just fantastic. I haven't seen agility like that in a player for a long time. He can just turn in a heartbeat, kind of get tackled, turn, get the ball, run, or turn, get the ball and get fouled. Just sensational when it comes to agility, but his shooting was well off, his passing wasn't great, but he was trying to get himself involved in the game, so I can't really slate him too much for that. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. As I said, it's not a great result, but it's a point as to losing as it was looking after we conceded the penalty. And we have to hope that Hearts beat Hibs tomorrow. Again, unless I'm wrong, let me know. But yeah, on the whole, little disappointing, but there were instances of good play. So hopefully that can continue, particularly against Hibs. Hibs have shortened our allocation as well, don't forget, for the fans. So, I don't know, not too confident going into that game because they've been our bogus team, apart from Celtic, of course, all season. But funnily enough, that was Aberdeen's first point against us, against either Glasgow team. Well, Rangers or Celtic, not Partick. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you check in the description down below for more details on the Sutton United game, which is the Chels Legends. We have to be careful on what we say. We can't say Chelsea, in case Chelsea have a go at us for using their name. They're not being very cooperative at all. And of course, it's the Rangers Legends too. So like and subscribe for more and check the description.